Today's video is going to be a really interesting one. If you like a bit of history, like a bit of geography, like a bit of football, just like I do, then this video is going to be for you. Before we get into it, please do hit that like button and please do subscribe if you're new. Not only does the city that we are visiting today have two names for two sort of different reasons, but the football team also has two different teams, the men and the women's team. That men's team and the women's team, they both represent different FAs, so they technically play for different countries or within different countries' football associations. The men's team have even swapped down the years and even became the first club side in the world to represent two different national jurisdictions in UEFA competitions. The team that we'll be investigating today in this video are Derry City FC. They are technically located within Northern Ireland, so the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, they're as part of the UK. Technically, that is where the city falls, but the football team plays within the League of Ireland, so they play in the Republic of Ireland's National League. Again, another really interesting, intricate story, which really, to look into the history of the football club, you have to look into the sort of history of the place and of the country in general, and sort of the wider sort of political and social aspects of the entire sort of region. It is absolutely fascinating. But firstly, I need to show you one of the main tourist attractions of Northern Ireland, which is on the way in this beautiful part of the country. Here we are, just check this out. Look at some of the shape of these rocks. So these were formed over, I think, 6 million years. This is on the north coast of Northern Ireland, the Antrim coast, and Irish people actually know the Giant's Causeway locally as the 8th wonder of the world. And yeah, it's pretty much one of the main things you see. It's a National Trust area, and there are loads of like American and Australian tourists coming down and looking at the wonder, and they're absolutely loving it. And look at it, it is pretty mad, but I know we're all here to see the football. And so yeah, today my journey is going from Belfast, where I've been staying the last 5 or 6 days, to here, and then we'll be going to Derry to film a couple of Derry videos that will be coming out over the next few days, and then we are heading sort of southwest-ish to Sligo. I'm staying in a hotel in Sligo tonight that I can't wait to show you. It looks absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, look, here we go now. The Irish 8th wonder of the world. There you go. So this is the second largest city in Northern Ireland, but it's very close to Ireland. I'll show you on the map where it is. But yeah, as you can sort of see, very close to Ireland. There's like two parts of the city really, over the River Foyle, and we are over the Catholic side of the River Foyle right now, which is where the football stadium is. And there have been plans in the past to move the stadium to the other side, but being a predominantly Catholic club, it didn't go down very well. But as you can see from some of the murals around here, you can kind of see what the people of the area, what their sort of culture is. But just check this out. Wow, and that's something I've always wanted to see, the old "You are now entering Free Derry" sign. But look at some of the murals around here. I'm going to show you them up a little bit closer, but this whole section here that I've researched is a place you're going to have to come to see, you know, murals and huge parts of like the history of Ireland. Of course, being a huge Catholic area, look, we have Celtic Ultra signs, we have Billy McNeil stickers as well. Here we go. On the 5th of January 1969, after a night of rioting and sustained police attacks on the Bogside, which is the area of Derry we're in now, the words "You are now entering free Derry" were painted on the gable wall of 33 Lecky Road. This simple graffiti became the defining symbol of the civil rights era and an internationally recognised symbol of resistance to state injustice. The wall remains today, though the rest of the street was demolished in 1975. Look at that there, the original painted slogan. Look, you can see what it looked like there. "You are now entering free Derry," compared to what it looks like now. Yeah, even me as an outsider coming here, it's very hard to know what to say in what situation. Of course, you travel through Northern Ireland and all the road signs point to Londonderry, whereas you come here and all the signs, or I suppose in Ireland, all the signs point to Derry. So it's hard to know what to say when, so please do forgive me if and when I use the wrong terminology. I am trying my best, and I am just trying to convey the history of this area and link it back to the incredible football club. Derry is one of the oldest inhabited places within the island of Ireland and dates back to the 6th century. There were lots of civil rights demonstrations, and I was showing you earlier over there was civil rights demonstrations against the sort of establishment of the time in the late 1960s, and it was the events that took place in Derry that people credit with the beginning of the Troubles, which happened sort of all across Northern Ireland, specifically mainly in Belfast, but Derry was a sort of big epicentre of the beginnings of the Troubles. And you may be able to see some walls up there. It's actually a walled city, completely walled, and I think one of the only cities in the entirety of Europe that was walled, which was never sort of besieged or never broken into by sort of invading forces down the years. And I think that's why it gets the name the Maiden City. But I just need to show you this quickly. Look, so this is a mural that depicts the events of the 30th of January 1972, also known as Bloody Sunday, when the British Army opened fire on a civil rights demonstration, killing 14 people. A local priest waves a bloodstained handkerchief at the soldiers as he leads a group of men carrying the body of the youngest victim away from the scene of the shooting. A soldier stands on the civil rights banner. This speaks of the price that people pay for democratic freedom. Really is sad and incredible to think that it was just 50 years ago that a lot of this was sort of beginning to rise and bubble up after sort of centuries of obviously British rule within Ireland. I've done a video where I spoke about the differences between Northern Ireland and Ireland and sort of linked it back to the football as well. So do check that video out for a more sort of detailed explanation on the history of the place. But look, there's just murals dotted all around here that sort of explain a little bit about the history of Derry. Again, the two names of Derry. I hear radio stations, I flick through and just trying to find songs, but when you like land on one and it gives you like an advert for something within this area, it will say sometimes Derry Londonderry. They'll call it Derry Londonderry on certain radio stations, I guess, to sort of appease both sides. But again, coming from outside of here, it's hard to know sort of what to call it. But it's very interesting that the football team spent obviously their earliest life within the IFA's jurisdiction, which is now Northern Ireland's FA, but they now play themselves in the League of Ireland, the Republic of Ireland's FA. So they've played for both, and there was a period of at least 10 years, I think around 13-14 years, in between dropping out of one and going into another. They had to play amateur football. We'll be getting into this in a little bit more detail later, but yeah, once the sort of split of Ireland happened, especially with the football, it was just too dangerous for Derry City FC to play their games in the Northern Irish League, even though they're from Northern Ireland, obviously more of a sort of Catholic leaning club. And I usually don't like to get into the politics and the social side of things too much, but it really, really is relevant in this incredible story of the football club, Derry City FC. As you can see, the stadium is called the Ryan McBride Stadium, and there is Ryan McBride there. Really, really sad story. Found dead in his home in March 2017, and thus the Brandywell Stadium was renamed the Ryan McBride Brandywell Stadium. I've made videos about teams such as Derry City before. For example, Berwick are in England, but they play in the Scottish League system. Gretna play in the Scottish League system. They are Scottish. They used to play in the English League system. They now play in Scotland again, so they flip-flop between the two. I really, really want to go to TNS in Wales, who I think are just about based in England, just over the border, but they are Wales's like most successful team. And Derry City, of course, for very different reasons, and sort of Berwick's reason for playing in a different country, I suppose, play in a different country to where they're based. I know a lot of people will have their opinions on Ireland and, you know, Northern Ireland and what teams are where, and Londonderry, Derry, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the reason obviously for Derry playing in the Irish League is due to the sort of social impacts that sort of the last 50 years have had on this area. So this club was actually founded in 1928, which is quite late considering how old some of the clubs that I visited are within the island of Ireland. There was another club who folded within the city of Derry called Derry Celtic. They decided not to take that name. They also decided not to use the controversial name of Londonderry in the naming of the club, and wanted to be a little bit more inclusive with who could obviously come and see the team, and thus the name Derry City FC was born for this club. This club were granted entry to the Irish League in 1929 as professionals and were given permission by the Londonderry Corporation to use the Municipal Brandywell Stadium. Despite being in that league system from the late 1920s, their last season in it would be 1971/72. That was their last full season. I think they went into the next one, but after a lot of troubles, or in inverted commas, the troubles, and lots of riots due to a lot of the things that I showed you earlier, where all the murals were, of course the civil rights movement and stuff. This club being so Catholic orientated, and then having teams from such Protestant areas coming, it was just a recipe for disaster in those times, and it just wasn't safe, and the club had to pull out of the league system, sadly. In and around those times though, when Derry were scheduled to play at home, they would have to play a lot of their home games away from home at Causeway Stadium, which is about 30 miles down the road. And yeah, interesting for me to think, covering these teams, I visited every stadium in Northern Ireland video, and Causeway were part of that. Then I come to Derry, 30 miles up the road, still in Northern Ireland technically, but this club play in a totally different league system. Any fixtures that were played here though were sort of policed by the British Armed Forces, which added to the tensions of the time. After 43 years, having won 1 league and 3 cups, Derry dropped out and were replaced by Larne. They spent the next 13 years in limbo, playing just amateur football, not having a proper league system that they could call their own. Such a big club like this, league title winners, cup winners, were having to play amateur football for 13 years. Today, of course, they play in the League of Ireland, and they were granted special dispensation from the IFA, UEFA and FIFA to essentially change nationalities. I say change nationalities, again, I want to make sure I'm using the right terminology and I'm not annoying anyone by what I'm saying, but essentially, of course, they've gone from one FA to another. In 1989, they won the League of Ireland Cup and League Double, or the FAI League and Cup Double. Again, it's very, very hard to know what to say when with a lot of the terminology. But yeah, the fact that they won that meant they qualified for Europe, which means they became the first team in history to represent 2 different countries' FAs within the European Cup. They played Lynn, Oslo and Anderlecht in 1965 whilst representing what is now the Northern Irish FA, and then they played Benfica after they'd won the Cup and League Double in the late 80s, early 90s. So they played Benfica to then obviously, yeah, like I say, become the first team ever to represent 2 nations within a UEFA competition. And yeah, this is a bit of a crazy fact, despite the men's team obviously being affiliated and associated with the Republic of Ireland FA, playing in the League of Ireland, the women's team actually play in the Northern Irish women's league system. Again, just another confusing little weird technicality there for you about this club, making the story even more incredible. Yeah, and to this day, you'll see that they've won the Irish Football League, which is now like the Northern Irish Football League, and the League of Ireland Premier Division. They've won 2 leagues like that. They've won the Irish Cup, which is the Northern Irish Cup, and they've won the FAI Cup. That's 3 and 5 times respectively. They've won the League of Ireland First Division, which is, I believe, like the 2nd tier, and they've won like the League Cup of Ireland, 11 times since coming into it, which is quite incredible. But I mean, you think about all that, it's unbelievable that they've been so successful in both sort of league systems that they've been in, both countries that they've been in. But look what a modern stadium it is now, like the AstroTurf, the kids playing on there. I think this is a completely fan-owned club, so it's great to see the stadium getting used for communities and stuff like that, which is, I guess, why so many teams, and I see it in Scotland where I live and I mention it all the time, the plastic pitches. I know fans of the professional football teams aren't fans of it, but obviously they just come once a week during games. But when I turn up at stadiums and see like all the kids using it and stuff, that's the reason that it's here for. It's for the club to generate income, and so that like the people of the community can use it as well. But yeah, it's just incredible, isn't it, to think of the history, not just of the football club, but of the city, and how it links together, and just how troubled it's been, and how that has created this incredible football club that has played in 2 countries and been so successful in both as well. Derry City are actually going to be playing in Europe within a couple of days, so I'm actually staying in the area. Like I said, I'm going to take you to a hotel later, enjoy the rest of the day. I'm filming another video today, an abandoned stadium video. We all know how much I love them. I've got a whole playlist about them, which I'm going to be adding to a little bit later today. Again, I don't know when all these videos are going to come out. I'm just absolutely filming video after video at the moment. But yeah, Derry are actually playing Riga from Latvia, I think, in the Europa Conference League, so I'm going to be coming to that game. Yeah, just another Irish football team at the moment who are playing in Europa Conference League football, or Europa League football, or Champions League football. There's a few games going on with a lot of the qualifiers right now, so I'm really buzzing to actually come back here for a game and see what it's like actually for a football match, to see Derry City play. Should be really exciting. For now, I'm going to go and film my other abandoned stadium video. I really fancy a Guinness. I think I've only had 1 Guinness since I've been back in Ireland this second trip. I did obviously come to Dublin for a few days as well. If you've been following the channel, you'd have seen my Dublin Derby video, as well as a few other Dublin related videos. But yeah, I'll see you a little bit later on, maybe for a Guinness at the hotel. What about that? See you in a bit. And check this out, look, before I take you to the hotel and we go for a Guinness, look, just have a look at my Instagram story, so that even the location part of like trying to put like Derry or / Londonderry in like my Instagram story, so that people in the area sort of know I'm here. Look, even that says Derry / Londonderry. So even like Instagram, you see it on like maps and like road signs, and like I say on the radio as well. Like there really isn't a perfect way to say the city itself. Like Derry, Londonderry, everywhere is kind of like between the two. Incredible place. Currently in sunny Sligo, and a massive thank you to Kevin, who works here at the Sligo Southern Hotel. Really nice place. He messaged me on Instagram and he sorted me out with a room for a couple of nights. It isn't sponsored, they are letting me stay for free, so just want to say a massive thank you to them for sorting me out. I'll overlay some clips of the room and stuff. Really nice place. If you come into Sligo, make sure you stay here. It's a great location just within the sort of main area as well, the main sort of city or town, but plus, yeah, the fact that it's just a lovely place to stay. I mean, look at that. It isn't the nicest day weather-wise, but that's even better that I'm staying somewhere nice. I can come and relax. I'm about to have a couple of pints of Guinness again, which I'll show you. So yeah, just want to say a huge thanks again to Kevin for sorting me out with a lovely stay here. Let's avoid the rain, get inside, have a pint of Guinness, and just wrap up this video. What a great day it's been so far. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been a really interesting video for me, historically as well, to see the sort of historical points of Derry, or Londonderry, wherever you fall within that, and also then check out the football club and see how these sort of differences historically impact the football team today, and how they've won league titles and cups in 2 different nations, basically. A strange little story, but yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Couldn't end the day in any other way, so cheers, and I'll see you in the next one.